One thing very important, I really would like to be able to meet with President Putin soon and get that war ended. And that's not from the standpoint of economy or anything else. It's from the standpoint of millions of lives are being wasted. Beautiful young people are being shot in the battlefield.
Will there be then a peace agreement with Ukraine and Russia by then?
Well, you're going to have to ask Russia. Ukraine is ready to make a deal. Just so you understand, this is a war that should have never started. If I were president, it would never have started. This is a war that should have never, ever been started. And it wasn't started during there was never even talk about it. I knew that it was the apple of President Putin's eye, but I also knew that there was no way he was going in, and he wasn't going to go in. And then when I was out, bad things happened, bad things were said, a lot of stupidity all around, and you end up with what you have. Now you have all these bombed out cities that look like demolition sites with many people killed. I think the thing that you'll see about Ukraine is that far more people have died than is being reported. And I've seen that. But far, far more people have died. When you look at a city that's become a demolition site where big buildings have been collapsed by missiles hitting them and everything else, and they say one person was slightly injured. No, many people were killed. Those are big buildings. I was surprised at how that was my business. These are buildings that go 2 and 3 blocks long. They're 20 stories high. They're big, powerful buildings, and they were knocked down, and there were a lot of people in those buildings that announced that 2 people were injured. That's not true. So I think you're going to find that there were many more people killed in Ukraine in the Ukraine war than anybody has any idea. But if you look now, so many of the people being killed are soldiers just facing each other with guns, rifles, and drones, the new form of warfare, drones. And it's a very sad thing to see. And when you see pictures of the fields that I see, nobody wants to see it. You'll never be the same. I like President Xi very much. I've always liked him. We always had a very good relationship. It was very strained with COVID coming out of Wuhan. Obviously, that strained it. I'm sure it strained it with a lot of people, but that strained our relationship. But we always had a great relationship, I would say, and we look forward to doing very well with China and getting along with China. Hopefully, China can help us stop the war with, in particular, Russia, Ukraine. They have a great deal of power over that situation, and we'll work with them. A little surprised by that. If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately. Right now, the price is high enough that war will continue. You got to bring down the oil price. You got to end that war.
The issue is the final signing of the documents. This is a very serious issue that should guarantee the security of both Ukraine, by the way, and Russia, for a serious long-term historical perspective. And there cannot be a single mistake, not a single rough spot. Everything must be in strict accordance with the Constitution of Ukraine. The President of Ukraine, even under martial law, does not have the right to extend his powers. Only the representative body of power, only the Ukraine's parliament, that is, the country's parliament, has the right to extend its powers. And the President has only a 5-year term. That's it, nothing more. Then his powers are transferred to the chairman of the Rada. But if there is a desire to negotiate and find a compromise solution, let anyone conduct these negotiations. Naturally, we will strive for what suits us, what corresponds to our interests. But from the point of view of signing the documents, here, of course, everything must be such that lawyers confirm the legitimacy of those people who will be authorized by the Ukrainian state to sign these agreements. If there is a desire, any legal issue can be closed. So far, we simply do not see such a desire. Well, I think that Western sponsors, they, Ukraine, cannot exist without them. They will not exist for a month if the money stops. And in a broad sense, the cartridges, that's it. Everything will end in a month and a half, or 2. In this sense, Ukraine's sovereignty is almost zero. If their Western sponsors want to achieve peace, well, the path is very simple. I once sent 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, a corresponding signal about this. If there is a desire, that's it. Then they will quickly find all legal ways to close the legal issues, including canceling this decree banning negotiations.
And as for the events in the United States, indeed, today we will be seeing the inauguration of Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. Obviously, the election period was by all means not easy for President Trump, with fierce pressure being exerted upon him and his family members, all the way up to assassination attempts. But President Trump was courageous and enjoyed a landslide victory. And now we see their statements about wishing to restore direct contacts with Russia, suspended by the previous administration. We've heard his commitment to do everything to prevent World War III. Of course, we welcome this approach and we congratulate the newly elected President of the United States on his inauguration. We have never been against dialogue. We have always been ready to maintain peaceful relationship with any American administration. I have said that many times. We would like to see the dialogue built upon equality and mutual respect, considering the common positions on our country on a number of international issues, including strengthening security and political stability. We're also open for dialogue with the new US administration on the Ukrainian conflict. The most important thing here is to eliminate the fundamental reason for the conflict. That's the most important. And as for settling the situation itself, its goal should be not a brief ceasefire, not just getting some time to regroup and rearm and carry on the conflict, but long-term peace based on respect to lawful interests of all people and nationalities living in the region. And of course, we're going to fight for the interests of Russia and its people. This is actually the goal and point of the special military operation.